Hi guidance counsellors, it is Gordon here from CareersPortal. Today I'm going to show you an overview of the Reach Plus career and college preparation program. I'm also going to demonstrate its key features and I'm going to discuss how I use the program in my everyday practice. Okay, so I suppose to get started, really, students when registering for Reach Plus, they need to go to the CareersPortal website. They pop up over towards the join button, click that, enter all their login details, whatever they are. Eventually, they'll come to a part where they need to enter the license code. License codes are distributed by CareersPortal via email or through the front of the book. And you scratch off an area in the front of the book which reveals the license code. So when the students get registered, they're automatically entered into the REACH program and use a guidance counselor then through again careersportal.ie website. Pop up to the top right hand corner, click the login button, enter your login details, and it will bring you to the admin side. Okay, so the admin side is basically where you can observe and sort out all your classes within this area. So on the top corner here, we can see setup. Setup, basically, to give you a description of that, is where I set up my students and assign them to whatever particular class they're in. If a student decides they're moving from class A to class B, I can easily just arrange that student to move from A to B very, very quickly. Um, I can also assign certain apps to particular class groups. And so it's just basically the setup to see where my students are. In case there's any mistakes made in terms of registration, I can quickly fix that in there. View students basically is what I would use most. I suppose it's the area where when I'm basically walking down the corridor to teach my class, I'll pop in to see who I'm teaching. So I'm teaching 6th Leinster in the classroom. I click on 6th Leinster and my students will appear in this way. Okay, so this allows me to view all the work carried out by my students. Each of those little boxes ticked indicate that students have carried out a piece of work from that particular app that it's aligned to. Okay, so in this area, I can also direct message students. So George Best here, if I want to direct message him, I click on that, enter message title, whatever it may be. It could be George, could be out for a week. I could be sending a message to catch up with some of his app work and so on. When I send that message, the message gets sent to George. George will receive an email to indicate that he has a message and he will be obliged to read that message. It'll also keep a record of that message that's sent as well. So that's kind of a nice area to be able to keep in contact with your students on an individual basis. Okay, so this is a demo, obviously. So in most cases, those boxes will be ticked in a line, depending on what kind of particular apps you're rolling out in whatever week. So another way of kind of observing this information in its totality, I suppose, if you were to work with a group of students from TY and possibly 50 or up to 60 year, I suppose the end product of the information that they will be filling out throughout those number of years will be their career portfolio. This is a really important area that we've recently introduced in order to keep tabs with all the information that students are supplying within each app. So what we've decided was that we'll pull all the really important data from the various different apps the students will fill out and direct it towards what's called a career portfolio. So, for example, if George Harrison wanted to meet with me, I suppose to discuss the CEO application, or for wherever that may be, I will click on Career Portfolio. Um, and then this will bring me into all the information that I would have on George over the last number of years. So in here, he's provided with all that information in terms of his guidance counselor, my guidance counselor notes in terms of any time I've ever met with George, I will be able to accumulate that information here in a very brief kind of guidance counselor notes, just to remind me of the various different aspects of George kind of George's commitment towards careers and his interest, his research, his CEO options, and so on. If George wants to pop in to have a chat with me, let's say on student supports, I click on student supports. Let's say he wants to have a discussion with me about their application. I can look at there, I can discuss with him all the information that he needs to know regarding there. Um, If he is applying for DARE, I'll click that box. If he has a DARE assessment, I'll click that DARE assessment box. I'll add in whatever notes I want in this area. So whatever discussion I have with him around his DARE application, I click submit, and all those notes that I'm gathering in the various different areas of his portfolio is added to my guidance counselor notes. Okay, so within that, when George pops in to meet with me, I will have full briefing of all the work that George has carried out, which will save me a huge amount of time. I'll get directly to the point of what we need to discuss in that particular time he books an appointment with me. Okay, so that's the view students area. The messaging area is a more group messaging system where that I can send a group message to basically a whole year cohort, maybe a 6th-year group, a 5th-year group, a TY group, or I could collectively send a message to all of the students on Reach Plus, or I could specifically send a message to a particular class by just selecting some of the classes that I've put in. So let's say in 2021, that class, I have a class called 6th Leinster. I can enter a message in there, whatever I need to click in and click send, and that message will be sent to that group. I can acknowledge again that that message has been sent here. Hi 6th years, class of 2021, 6th year, it's been sent on 14th to the 4th, 2021. So again, there's acknowledgements that I've made contact with that group of students for whatever purpose. It could be me sending them on a group message in terms of a YouTube video that they should look at, or just a further piece of information that they may require throughout their school years. So that's the messaging area. Topics and lessons. Okay, so within Reach Plus, there's a whole area of apps that cover the various different areas within Reach. So Reach is made up basically of career planning and research, self-assessment, study performance, world of education, and world of work. Okay, so within this area, let's say for example, students are working on the guidance interview. Within this area, all the kind of apps and lesson plans and videos and resources that are required to teach a particular app are located in here. So at any particular time when I'm preparing for a particular class group, I can pop in here. It'll give me a kind of a full understanding of through the lesson plans and through the presentations that's required to assist me in teaching that particular app. Okay. Also, what's here is that we've recently developed a planner. Okay, so you're getting a first look at this planner. This planner basically assists guidance counselors in planning out their school year in terms of which particular apps that are required for a particular cohort of students. So as you can see here, the planner maps out each term, first term from September to October, November to December, and if you scroll down further, it'll finish out on the 3rd term, January to February, and then from April into June in the final term. Okay, so within that you can see transition year, 5th year, and 6th year. Okay, so in particular, because 6th year is such an important year, there's key dates that we can acknowledge, okay, at a particular times in the year that we'll be able to understand and to plan and prepare for certain deadlines that are required. So you can see here, for example, CEO application deadline February 1st. Here and there application or online closing March 1st, section A. Here and there supporting documents closing March 14th. Okay, so throughout this whole planner, you will be able to sit down at the start of the year and say, okay, I've got a group of transition year students. Okay, I need to start off roughly around September with career awareness. And then that'll move into the guidance interview app. And then following that, then you're moving into the work experience and CV builder, and so on and so on. Okay, it gives guidance counselors just a firm understanding of which particular apps that are required, and it gives them a sense of awareness of time of when these particular apps need to be used. So again, going back to 6 years, you can see here at the start of the year, the UCAS applications open, higher options were there. So it just keeps us guidance counselors, I suppose, up to date and organized in terms of what aspects of the career guidance year that we need to be prepared for. And this planner really kind of gives us a good sense of covering certain areas and certain apps at certain times of the year. Okay, so jumping back to the Reach Admin, we looked at topics and lessons. Edit website. So basically with Reach Plus that you have a website that is part of the whole program. the website for me has been invaluable in terms of how I reach out to parents, teachers, and students, because this is the edit area. So this is the back end of the website. The front end looks like this. If I click on www, it will give me a front end view of what my website should roughly look like if I was setting up within my school. Okay, so you can see here that I have a YouTube video. I have a description of my guidance practice in my school. I have another video. I've got a Twitter feed from CareersPortal. On the right hand side, I've got useful tools. I've got a notice board in case there's events I need to put up there. I've career events nationwide, and I've career news. And over to the left hand side, I've got articles. So I can upload any article I want for a particular year group. So I can acknowledge and add whatever categories I want to put in there, be it 50 or 60 or parents. You can put in as many as you want. You can see 6 years are there, parents, and so on. And up in the top left hand corner, I've got documents. So basically, I can add a PowerPoint, a form that needs to be downloaded, a video, a checklist, whatever I need to add up there for parents to get access to. So I'll give you an example. If I had a careers, let me see, a subject choice meeting next week, I could put a subject choice document in there. Parents could access that document. They will be fully understood and knowledgeable of the subject choice criteria. And then when they arrive to your meeting next week, they'll have less questions to ask because they'll be fairly informed of what's actually happened within that process. So that's the guidance website. For me, as I said, it's absolutely invaluable, particularly in the past pandemic, because parents needed to find out a huge amount of information and updates regarding the Leaving Cert. That provided me with a great platform to keep people informed of what was actually happening. Okay, back to our admin side. Work experience, basically what that is if the students maybe in TY, the work experience can be set up by the TY coordinator in this area or yourself, if that's your role. In there, we can set up a work experience time frame of when we want it to take place. Both TYs and LCVP students can access that work experience area. Next to work experience, we got file share. So basically, this is my file management system. As a guidance counselor, I'll have access to this area. I can upload whatever documents I want. I can use those documents to publish to my school website, my guidance website. I can use the documents to upload into a Reach Network files area. This is an area where guidance counselors share particular files with other guidance counselors, or I can use a particular document to send directly into a student's file management system. So there's a lot you can do in the file management area. It's pretty creative, and it's very efficient in terms of how I get information from A to B. Okay, to finish off in the admin side, I've got support. In the support area, basically this is all the information that I can get access to in terms of who I need to communicate or contact if I'm having an issue with a particular part of the program, or I want to join let's say, a particular group, a WhatsApp group on Reach Plus. Contact numbers and information, email is there provided. Okay, so I suppose to summarize the Reach admin area for us guidance counselors, this covers the whole management of all our students. Okay, also in the front end here, what we would normally acknowledge would be an area here of appointments. Okay, so if a student has sent you an appointment through the student file area, the appointment will show up in here and you can organize and arrange to meet with that particular student. I can have a brief view here of which students have been online over the last week. So that's always important to find out which students have been logging in and which students haven't. Um, Over to the right hand side, I've got a FAQ and support videos in this yellow box area. So basically, if I'm having an issue with something that I've learned, I suppose, in probably previous training sessions and I may have forgotten, there are so many great questions in there with all great answers in order to, just help you along with the program. If you're a visual learner like me, I would prefer maybe looking at support videos. So in here, you can see how to use apprenticeship search tools, Reach Plus file sharing, how to use scholarship search tool, and so on. There is something for everything in those files and in those videos. So you'll never be left unsupported in that sense. Okay. So going back again, we've a latest newsletter that gets updated quite regularly on a monthly basis. So that keeps us in touch with everything that's happening within the area of careers and in our role as career guidance counselors. So that is the admin side of things. Okay. Now I'm going to take you to the student file area. And just so we know that up in the top left-hand corner, the home button here brings us back to careersportal.ie. Reach admin brings us to exactly where we are right now. And now I'm going to click on the student file area that brings you into a demo file of exactly what the students see from their side. Okay, so I'm going to click on student file. Okay, so now I'm in the student file area. And this is exactly, I suppose, a typical kind of page what students will have access to and what it will look like. Okay, so to bring you around in the various different areas of it, over to the right hand side, we have your school crest will pop up in here. So remember, I'm seeing this through the eyes of a student, okay? But you are allowed demonstration in terms of the fact that you have a demo model. Everything you do within this area in demo is for your own purposes only. I suppose it helps you familiarize yourselves with what the students are seeing from their end. Okay, so I've also got a little button here I can click that'll bring me to the career guidance website that I mentioned in the previous video. And beneath that, we have a guidance appointments area. So as a student, okay, I can book an appointment to meet my guidance counselor. If I click on book an appointment, it'll bring me into these two areas of requests. So I'll need to find out, okay, so choose a guidance counselor. So select value. I'm going to, okay, we're going to go, I want to see Mrs. Nevreen, okay? She's a guidance counselor. Any school that's registered in Reach will have their guidance counselor names placed in here. The priority level, okay, so is it normal as soon as possible? So I'm going to click as normal. I'm going to send request. So me, the student, has sent that message to the guidance counselor now. So appointment has been requested. Okay. So I must wait as a student for the guidance counselor to respond to that message. Okay. What that looks like, I suppose, from the guidance counselor perspective, if I click on reach admin, okay, I will see now that an appointment has been requested. So if I log in as a guidance counselor, I can see now that Colin O'Donoghue, student appointments, has requested an appointment. He's in the class of 2021. He's in 6 Leinster and he requested on the 14th of the 4th, 2021. Okay, so as a guidance counselor, what you would normally do there is click on that student's name, make an arrangement to meet with that student. So if you can look at your calendar and see when you're free, I'm going to click here. I'm going to click on particular date. I'm going to click for Thursday the 15th, okay, at 10 o'clock, okay. So then I could put in a little message in here to maybe, bring your PPSN number. I'll just bring PPSN. Okay, I can put whatever notes I want in there. If the situation was that the student was at home and couldn't get access to school, you could send the student their Zoom link in there. And then what you do is you click on submit. Okay, so I'm going to bring it back into the student file. Okay, and what that looks like for the student then is when the student logs in, they can see now appointment has been confirmed April 15th, 10 o'clock. And there's a note here to bring PPSN number. Okay. If it was a Zoom link, the Zoom link would appear underneath here. So the student could click on that at that particular time in order to engage with the guidance counselor for a Zoom call. Okay. Underneath that, we've got school articles, got various different articles that are popping up. They are the school articles that the guidance counselor will publish on their guidance website. So the great thing about that is you're not only as a guidance counselor are you publishing that information on the guidance website, it's also appearing in here for the student to see in their student file area. Beneath that, we've got recent school files. So any files that you upload in your guidance website will also appear in here. Over to the left-hand side here, we've got this week's career events. So any events that are happening in this week will appear in this area. If you need to go a little bit deeper into research into next month or so, or next number of weeks, it brings you into the events calendar. You can search again a month in advance, and even further into that, you can look down and see all the various different events. You can go into categories. If I'm looking for STEM events only, it'll break it down into STEM events and so on. I can also look into particular universities. If DCU is my university, it will search through all the filters there a particular university and whatever which way I want or what I'm actually looking for. Okay, so that's the events area. Above that, we've got a college update. So basically, there's any information that's been released about colleges, universities, college of further education. Any information could contain videos, whatever it is, you'll see it pop up in here. So there's an example. Step into your future in Dundrum College of Further Education. So that's just something that they've released quite recently. Career news. Okay, so CareersPortal have been excellent at updating career news on a very daily basis. What an important kind of feature that's been happening recently is the weekly Leaving Cert checklist. So this is the most recent, up to date, April 12th. If I was to click on that, as a student, remember, I'm checking out what I need to be thinking about this week in terms of April 12th. There's a checklist there of all really important information. If I keep up to date with all that information on a weekly basis, it'll keep me very, very well organized in terms of how I'm approaching and working towards in my end of sixth year. So around here, I've got study action plans. So these are a result basically of a study action plan a student would have filled out within the study performance area. My recent favorites, basically any research the students will carry out throughout their, I suppose, their time on the REACH program will pop up in here. So this student recently has looked at architecture, business studies, and so on. Okay, the progress indicator. Now, so this is where we go into talking about the apps and the work that the students are carrying out for you, the guidance counselor. So this particular student, as you can see, each time they finish a task, they will click a box that says add to career portfolio. When they do that, that box becomes colorized in here, okay? So just so that we're aware, they're colored for a particular reason, okay? So career planning is green, self-assessment is green, and study performance blue, world of education is yellow, world of work is purple. So they correspond with the sections that are on the REACH book. If I'm to look over here into the tools area and apps area, they're all, again, coordinated. So if I click on career plan and research as a student, all the apps within career plan and research are located in here. Again, if I'm to click on guidance interview and I get to the end of this piece of information that I need to fill out, I click on this box here, add to career portfolio. When that's ticked, when I've completed all the various pieces of work that's required in there, when I pop back, that box will be ticked. That is complete. Okay, if we hover over, it will highlight which ones are done. Suppose you're at a point here with this student are looking at the gray areas that they need to complete. They hover over. If I click on CV Builder here, the gray one that's not complete, it'll give me a whole breakdown of the CV Builder, what it is, what I need to do, what a great CV looks like. When I get that CV finished, if I click on Add to Career Portfolio, pop back in here, I'll see then that that area has been updated and is colored in. Okay, so as I said, all the apps are located over here. Each particular section again corresponds to the book, has various different apps in here. We've got the sale area. Basically, what we're doing at the moment is we're in the process of translating all the apps as Gaeilge. So that will become more populated as time goes. The LCVP area, okay, so not too many people realize this, and particularly teachers. If a school is on the Reach Plus program, CareersPortal can give teachers of LCVP access to Reach Plus with their own login details. They'll have access to the LCVP apps and tools. So basically, this is the whole LCVP program broken down into the various different areas in separate apps. So this will give the students the access to each individual area so that, for example, if I click on Enterprise Report, the whole information that's required on the Enterprise Report will be located in here. There'll be guidelines here. The assessment criteria will be here. And the students then, when they're prepared, they will start off the report by clicking Edit, Create Report, and they'll put that information as so. All the tips on part 1 and 2 and so on are located here on the right hand side. So it's a really great area for, I suppose, LCVB teachers to keep track of their students. And all this information is uploaded online. And at any particular point, an LCVB teacher can get access to the report of all of their pieces of work that they've filled out. and it'll pull it into one big file, and at click of a button they can print that off or save it into a PDF. Okay, so that's the LCVP area. Now, me in particular, in terms of my kind of how I deal with students and career guidance would be, as early as I possibly can, I want students to get into the mindset of research. So in the favorites area over here, this is an ideal area where students get to go find various different pieces of information, be it careers, apprenticeships, level 8s, level 6s, level 7s, and PLC courses. So anytime students research, let's say, for example, if they want to look at level 8 courses and they click here and they find a particular level 8, let's say we're looking at accounting, okay, in Galway Mayo, and let's say to read all about accounting, to see all the videos that are attached, to hear people's descriptions of how their course went and so on, to look at the entry requirements, and they say to themselves, wow, this is a course that I'm really interested in. If they click this button here, add to favorites, what happens is that gets sent back into the favorites area and stored so that students will continually build up this research, be it, as I said, careers, apprenticeships, level 8s, level 6s, level 7s, further education courses, so that there will come a point from TY fifth year right up until sixth year that students will have a bulk of information here to I suppose to observe that they have carried out a lot of research in those, but then to narrow it down to specifics when they're meeting their guidance counselor, possibly for the final time to discuss the CAO options. So in doing that, the weeks coming into the CEO deadline, they'll start realizing, you know what, I looked at accounting in Galway Mayo, I'm not interested anymore. They click remove, and it'll come to a point where students will have it all cut down into specifics in terms of what they're actually looking to achieve or looking to apply to, or in various different applications. It gives you as a guidance counselor an insight what they're researching, which is very, very important. Okay. But next here we've got my files. So as I mentioned earlier, that the my files area basically is the student's file management system. So within the file management system, students can upload as many files they want, PowerPoints, documents, whatever it is. This is their storage area, and they can use whatever they need, I suppose, and edit whenever they want at any particular time. Again, this is their own file management system. You, the guidance counselor, as I mentioned before, can send a file directly into their files. It will become located here in the school files. So when I advise them that I've sent them very important information, whatever it be, I'll advise them to look into their school files, and they'll see here a checklist, weekly leaving cert checklist, career investigation, and so on. So that's where they'll find the information I've sent them specifically. Okay. So I suppose that is a general roundup of the student file area. Just two final points. We introduced a parent report up on the top right hand corner here. The parent report is very important in terms of um, making that connection between students and parents. We felt that we needed more of a buy-in from parents so that they could, form part of the discussion around students' future prospects. So within the parent report, and if you click here, this will produce a report based on all of the research this particular student has carried out. So it'll tie in the career interest report. It'll look at occupations and course selections. Okay, so the student is Colin Donahue. This is a demo student. And if I scroll through this report, it'll look at the career interest report results. It'll give a breakdown of the student's top 3 results. Then we look into the level 8s and level 7s the student has researched. Then we look further into the occupations that looked at PLC options, further education options, and apprenticeships that they had looked and researched into. So this report would be a pretty vital piece of information for a parent to sit down with their child to have a discussion, possibly maybe over Christmas before the Leaving Cert application deadline in January, February. And I suppose that discussion around that period of time, as I said, over Christmas, when they go back into school in January and they're spending that month just really cutting it down to what they're actually interested in applying for in the CEO application, that it becomes a very joint effort where the parents are on board, students on board, and the guidance counselor is on board, and it makes the process far much more richer in terms of the application. Okay, and finally, when messages are sent to students, okay, they turn up in here in the message area. So if I've sent this particular student Colin a message, he will get an email indicating that he has a message. He will log into Reach Plus, click on this. I can see class group messages. Okay, so he has 2 in there. He's to click on that. Messages will pop in here. Whatever it may be that me, the guidance counselor, have sent to them will pop up in there. And whatever directions they're advised to take, they'll read it from there. So that is a summary and an overview of the whole Reach Plus program. As I said, it has been invaluable in terms of my practice as a guidance counsellor. It keeps me up to date with all the information the students are working with throughout the program. It gives me the ability in terms of the Reach admin area to be able to observe and see that information and collate that data so that when I'm meeting with a student that I'm very much up to scratch with what that student has been researching. Also gives me the aspect of the guidance website, which, as I said, has been an invaluable source for information and so promotion. And I suppose just generally, it is a fantastic program. And if you need any more information on it, please contact us at info@careersportal.ie. And I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you.